It's your under degree. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright. Set the stage, Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea.
Y'all know we gotta run that back. We gotta run it back.
Oh, by now. It's your under degree. Sip with me.
Get in here, y'all.
I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright. Set the stage, Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me.
Hit that like on the way in, y'all.
Spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea.
What's up, Diamond Gang? What's going on? Put a one in the chat. Can you guys hear me clear? Put a one in the chat. Joe Kent, a top official, resigned. He said what we've always known, what I've always said. There was no threats. None. We're going to talk about Trump asking for help. Japan, he asked Australia, they said no. NATO, China, yeah, it's a mess, Diamond Gang. It's a whole mess. Pam Bondi, she up on the chopping block. She got a subpoena. So I'm going to bring my screen up and we're going to get right into it. Let's go. Let's get into it.
We have stunning breaking news right now. A top Trump official has just run. I never thought I would see this day, but here we are. Joe Kent is the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, a top deputy for Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence. Kent was appointed by Donald Trump. He has now resigned effective today. And in his resignation,
he was a representative of the MAGA movement, Diamond Gang.
Statement just posted minutes ago on Twitter. He says, quote, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. And it is clear.
Did y'all hear that? He said Iran did not pose a threat. Let's go.
We started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful America.
Diamond Gang, I've been said that. Israel put the pressure on us. Remember I said when this all started, there was rumors that this is Epstein connected. Let's go.
American lobby. That is a top Trump official who had access to classified information, served in the office of the Director of National Intelligence, led the National Counterterrorism Center, and has resigned from his job effective today. Stunning, stunning news right now. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Breaking news this morning. We just learned, get this, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent, has just announced he's resigning. CNN national security reporter Zachary Cohn is joining us right now. Zachary, what more can you tell us about this dramatic development?
Yeah, Wolf, this appears to be a significant...
His conscience would not let him go on any further.
Resignation at the senior most levels of the Trump intelligence community. This is Joe Kent. He was the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. He appearing to post on X a resignation letter that he submitted, citing misgivings over the Trump administration's decision to launch its war with Iran. Now, Kent, in this letter, writes in part, quote, as a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and as a gold...
Diamond Gang, that says a lot. That says a lot.
Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel. I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people, nor justifies the cost of American lives. Now, Kent, in his apparent post on X, does also seem to suggest that there was no imminent threat, that it has been used and cited by the Trump administration as justification.
Diamond Gang, he was part of intelligence. He was part of intelligence. So that was his job, was to know if there was threats or not. So if y'all don't believe Trump is lying, I don't know what to tell y'all.
For launching this war against Iran, he says that essentially the administration manufactured this idea of an imminent threat, and that is part of the reason why he's deciding to resign from his post.
They manufactured the idea that there was a threat.
Ken, let's start with this big resignation.
Now we're going to get into what this may mean for the U.S.
A number of intelligence and military officials break with Trump in his first term. How significant is this now from Joe Kent?
Good morning, Anna. Well, this is hugely significant because Joe Kent represents a wing of the MAGA movement that is incredibly disenchanted with this war in Iran. You're seeing it on social media, but now you're seeing an actual resignation by a senior member of the administration.
This is serious. This is his life he put on the line. Where is he going to go? What is he going to do?
National Counterterrorism Center is a very important agency, particularly at a time when the threat level from the Iran war has been heightened. And we've seen, for example, ISIS-inspired attacks and attacks on synagogues in recent days. And Joe Kent has always been a controversial figure. He was a veteran of the Army Special Forces, and he really represented that sort of non-interventionist wing of the MAGA movement. And also to allege it publicly that essentially the U.S. was goaded into this war.
And he basically told the whole world, he told everybody, There was no threat. He put it out there. Please, please, and thank you. Hit the like. Please hit the like. I'm not asking for a cash app, super chat, super sticker. Just a like. It's free. Please, please.
Because of the Israel lobby. That is a huge statement. It's a controversial statement. There are people, there are MAGA supporters who have made that allegation. Of course, it said that essentially Israel jammed the Trump administration into doing this because Israel was going to attack. And Donald Trump even made some statements that made people think that that could have been a possibility.
So the United States was pressured by Israel.
He later walked them back. Trump officials have said, look, this is a joint operation with Israel. They are hand in
Which makes me believe even more it may be Epstein related.
glove. They're together with the same strategic objectives here. But to have Joe.
That's why they couldn't tell us a clear-cut answer on what the war was about. We still don't have a clear, clean-cut answer.
Kent walk away and publicly essentially accuse Israel of drawing the United States into a war and to proclaim that there's no imminent threat. And he sees all the intelligence, by the way. That is a huge, huge deal on him.
President, you're director of national counterterrorism,
Now, this is what Trump feels about him.
Joe Kent. He just resigned today. He said he can't support your conflict with Iran. What's your reaction to that? And did you?
Well, I read his statement. I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on.
Here it is, though. He said he was weak on security, but Trump handpicked him. You handpicked him.
Security. I didn't know him well, but I thought he seemed like a pretty nice guy. But when I read his statement, I realized that it's a good thing that he's out, because he said that Iran was not a threat. Iran was a threat
He's intelligence. That's what he's paid to do. That's what his job is.
country realized what a threat Iran was. The question is whether or not they wanted to do something about it. And many people, many of the greatest military scholars are saying for years that president should have taken out Iran because they wanted a nuclear weapon.
Here's the thing. Why should previous presidents should have done this when we've never been struck, hit, none of that?
They were, if we didn't do the attack, or if I'll go a step further, if I didn't terminate the Iran nuclear
The previous presidents kept it cool.
deal given to us, one of the worst deals ever made by Barack Hussein Obama. Remember when they sent Boeing 757s over there loaded with
that proposition at the
Now we're going to hear from the speaker, Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson claims that he's telling lies, basically.
end is clearly wrong. I'm on the Gang of Eight. I got all the briefings. We all understood there was clearly an imminent threat, that Iran was very close to the enrichment of nuclear capability, and they were building.
So we have Iran saying there was no threat, there was in negotiations. Now we have someone handpicked by Trump, intelligence, Joe Kent, saying that there was no threat. Who's lying? Who's lying, Diamond Gang?
Missiles at a pace that no one in the region could keep up with. They were far outpacing our allies and friends and us in our defense capability, because we had personnel, installations, members of the armed services, and civilians in the region.
He trying so hard to convince. He's stuttering. He's stumbling over his words, but okay.
Iran was building up ballistic missiles at such a rapid pace, and we knew that their plan was to fire them upon Americans. The commander-in-chief and his administration had a very difficult decision to make. I don't know where Joe Kent is getting his information, but he wasn't in those briefings, clearly, because the Secretary of State, the Secretary of War, and everyone, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Kane, they had exquisite intelligence, and we understood that this was a serious moment for us. Had the president waited, I am personally convinced that we would have mass.
Do you guys believe that? Who do you believe?
Casualties of Americans, service members and others, and our installations would have.
They were clearly in negotiations.
Been dramatically damaged. And so we had to, the president felt that he had to strike first to prevent.
The president felt. Now, is it intelligence or is it the president felt? Which one is it? Did y'all just heard him? He said the president felt. Not intelligence, but the president felt, who's going rogue and just doing whatever he wants.
The those mass casualties. That's the summary. I can't tell you the classified part, but that's the summary that's made public, and it's accurate.
Made it to the UAE side of the Strait of Hormuz in a place called Ras Al Khaimah. And it's extraordinary to think that the waters behind me are now at the center of one of the most dangerous standoffs on Earth, because this narrow stretch of water is one of the most important economic arteries in the world. Roughly a fifth of the planet.
Diamond Gang, we about to get into the countries that's on the fence, the countries that's just flat out said no.
Oil and LNG passes through here every day. If traffic slows or stops, energy prices spike almost immediately, which is exactly why this place matters so much right now. Over the weekend, President Trump called on U.S. allies to send warships to break what he calls Iran's de facto blockade of the strait. He's urging several countries to deploy naval forces, warning.
Meanwhile, he's asking China, and China is in the midst of a deal with Iran, speaking to them directly. So why would they put themselves in that?
NATO allies that refusing could be, quote, very bad for the alliance, and even suggesting China should send ships to help secure the Gulf. The idea
China's not doing it. I'm telling y'all that right now.
is to assemble a multinational coalition to escort tankers and reopen the lane. But Tehran sees this very differently. For Iran, Hormuz isn't just a shipping corridor. It's leverage, one of the few places where it can impose immediate global consequences on a war that is overwhelmingly one-sided militarily. If the U.S. escalates...
One country said it's not even possible to get through there because of the threats.
Iran can escalate too, not by defeating American forces directly, but by raising the economic costs of the war, disrupt shipping, threaten Gulf infrastructure, push oil prices higher. And there's another twist. Reports suggest Iran may allow some tankers through only if the oil is traded in Chinese currency instead of dollars.
They do not want U.S. dollars, Chinese currency only. And they are dealing with China right now.
Partially, that introduces a financial dimension to the conflict and puts China directly into the equation. For Gulf states who don't expect or really fear an Iranian victory, what they do fear is a wounded Iranian regime that survives and that keeps the region unstable and able to threaten cities like Dubai and Doha while disrupting shipping through Hormuz. So the bottom line is this. Washington is trying to reopen the strait with warships and a coalition. Tehran is trying to turn it into leverage over the global economy. And these two strategies are now colliding right here, in the consequential waterways on Earth.
More warships to the Strait of Hormuz, not American, but European. And
again, Trump demands China, the UK, Japan, and others.
And Asian warships. This is President Trump's ask, his demand from NATO allies like the United Kingdom and France, and from partners in Asia.
And I'm going to show you guys what he specifically said about NATO again.
Like Japan and South Korea, and even from China to keep oil flowing through the strait. But it has been crickets from some and a hard pass from others. Here in the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the country is looking at options, but will not follow the US to be.
Here's the deal. His ratings is down. And he's not doing too good. So if he gets the UK into something, he will not be reelected. But let's go.
Drawn into the wider war, that he takes seriously the lives of British service members. And politically, Starmer's approval numbers here are so low that a decision to follow Trump, like the UK did back in the Iraq War in 2003,
he's going to do what's best for himself and his country.
Could be a step towards political suicide. In the Asia Pacific, Japan and Australia have weighed in and said no too. Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi said Japan, in fact, can't.
They can't even do it because of a law that they passed.
Send naval ships, and pointed to the pacifist constitution that its leaders had to sign after it lost World War II. But she does meet Trump later this week at the White House, so there is at least a chance.
And he's threatening to cancel meetings unless they do this for us. Yes, thank you for hitting the like for the ones that did.
Of some different messaging after that happens. With Australia, the government of Prime Minister Anthony Albanese actually hadn't even been asked to send warships, but a cabinet minister said it is not something that they're going to even get involved in, basically preempting the White House.
So that's another no, Diamond Gang.
And then there's China. This is an important one because China has so far been quiet and has only called for an end to the war. President Trump has suggested he could postpone or
And the reason why they're quiet is because they're going through Iran to get their oil.
or even call off his visit to China to meet President Xi Jinping, which is supposed to happen at the end of this month. But
again, I just told y'all he was threatening to cancel meetings unless they helped us.
White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt has since said that their meeting is not in jeopardy, and China's foreign ministry on the other side said that the two sides are still talking. But notably, China and Iran are right now in talks for Chinese ships to sail through the Strait of Hormuz. So if that happens,
y'all see that? China and Iran are in talks for Chinese ships to sail straight through the Strait of Hormuz. So why do we think that they're going to help us when they're dealing with Iran directly?
happens, then it is less reason for Beijing to entertain whatever Trump wants. But the pressure is there for governments, especially Asian governments, to at least consider Trump's ask because it's China, India, Japan, and South Korea that rely the most on the oil coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. Beijing is the biggest importer in the ballpark of around 40%. India, by some estimates, at around 15%. Japan and South Korea at around 10% or so. Oil that goes to the U.S., on the other hand, is only in the single digits because of domestic U.S. production. So President Trump wants countries that need.
And here's the thing. If they weren't going straight through Iran, it would benefit them because they get most of their oil from them. We get a slight percentage. You know what I mean? So, but because they're dealing straight with Iran, why? Why would they get involved?
Need that oil out of the Strait of Hormuz to do more to protect and to get that oil.
I don't think the European countries are going to come and bail Trump out of this mess. I think you have to think about the context here. Trump just spent a year hurting their economies on purpose, threatening to attack NATO, threatening to pull out of NATO. And then they.
So you bully these people and then you thought that you could bully them to help us when you said you didn't need their help. Okay.
The Trump administration started this war without even bothering to consult them. Didn't take their interests into account until he needed them. And their populations are at historic levels of anti-Americanism because of how we've treated them over the last year. And they're democracy, so I don't think their leaders are going to be able to overcome that.
Be careful how you treat people, and that's the number one rule in just general in life.
Why would they? It's much easier, and you'll see a bunch of countries doing this, to negotiate with the Iranians. The Iranians are setting up a system whereby they let the ships pass that they want to let pass. Just in the last 24 hours, they let several ships pass for countries that they're not at war with. So if you were any country in the world depending on this strait, it's much easier to make a deal with the Iranians.
We definitely got ourselves in a pickle when it comes to this. And I'm going to show you guys a clip where Trump said that he basically underestimated Iran. He did not believe that this was going to happen, and it came out of his mouth.
Than to send your ships down the strait to make them sitting ducks for Iranian drones and missiles, which seems crazy reckless.
President Trump faces strong pushback from his U.S. allies, who he has asked to help protect oil tankers in the region. Now, Iran has blocked most international ships.
Now, I will say this. We are taking Iran's leaders out like it ain't nothing. Like it's nothing.
From the vital Strait of Hormuz. It accounts for about 20% of global oil supplies.
President Trump is insisting that some foreign leaders have told him that they are on board with helping here, but
this was a big story. He told people that they were going to help him, and nobody's stepping up to say this.
He didn't identify them, and we do know that several countries have already said publicly that they do not want to get dragged into this war.
What does surprise me is that they're not eager to help.
President Trump put out an all-call.
All jokes aside, who would be eager to lead their country into a war? Who would be? They had nothing to do with this. They weren't consulted. And then some of them were treated like shit by Trump.
Monday, pressuring NATO allies and China for military assistance to reopen what is suddenly the world's most dangerous waterway, the Strait of Hormuz.
We get less than 1% of our oil from the Strait, and some countries get much more. So we want them to come and help us with the Strait.
The reaction was not encouraging.
This is not Europe's war.
The EU.
Europe said, nah, get somebody else to do it.
turned him down. So did Australia. The Chinese and the Japanese were non-committal.
They on the fence. They're just appeasing him, acting like they may do it, but China has no reason to do it. Again, they're going straight through Iran.
And Germany's chancellor said, quote, "We are unaware of any plan as to how such an operation could even succeed."
Y'all hear that? Germany said, yeah, okay, if we commit to this, I can't even see the day of light in this at all. How is it going to succeed?
That's because as the war rages on, Iran has the Strait in a stranglehold, threatening to attack any oil tanker that...
And I'm going to show you guys of what they are using right now. They're getting low on things, but they still have ammunition.
...tries to pass through the 21-mile-wide bottleneck. A tanker registered in Thailand called Iran's bluff last week. It did not go well. Why should other countries that weren't consulted about this war, that aren't involved in this war, now put their troops in harm's way in the Strait of Hormuz?
Because these other countries are benefiting greatly from the United States military taking out the threat of Iran.
But here's the deal. If they could go straight through Iran, why get involved?
U.S. may not get much oil from the Gulf, but it suffers all the same when global oil prices rise. The average U.S. cost of a gallon of gas is up 81 cents since the war started. The UK's prime minister said he doesn't want to be drawn into a wider war, but said he is working with NATO allies to try to find a resolution.
Ending the war is the quickest way to reduce the cost of living.
It truly is. And Trump is he's one-dimensional. It's his way or the highway. So whatever they come up with, if he don't agree with it, and if they don't do what he wants them to do, it's not over.
President Trump said yesterday he wants to know if China is going to help him before he takes a planned trip there to meet with President Xi in 2 weeks. Trump also shared some personal...
He's basically, again, threatening China. If you don't help us, I'm not coming.
Personal news that his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, has been diagnosed with early stage breast cancer. He said she's going to begin treatment, but also that she plans to stay on the job nearly full time.
We have some news right now. Donald Trump has reportedly never been more angry, according to Lindsey Graham, the senator from South Carolina, who says he spoke with Donald Trump as America's allies are rejecting Trump's demands to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to send their ships to help. And well, Trump is furious. He says he has never heard Trump more angry than he was today.
He thought they were all going to fall in line, and they said, no, not today.
Now, Trump, for his part, publicly is now kind of downplaying the need for support from America's allies, saying we've never needed it, we don't need it, we don't want it.
You see the type of games that he play? We need you, and then as soon as someone says no, we don't need you, when we clearly do.
America's allies in NATO, South Korea, Australia, Japan. But ultimately, you had a president who just threatened them, who demanded that they do something. They said no. And now you have a president who's very angry and lashing out. And according to Lindsey Graham, like I said, he's never been angrier. And we know Lindsey Graham is well connected to this White House, especially as it relates to the war in Iran, because Lindsey Graham is one of the chief architects behind the war in Iran. So
personally, I believe that he should have consulted with every ally that we had. He really should have. He went in this like he was a one-man band.
Here we are. Spread the word. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. There'll be more to come soon.
I was very surprised with the...
Now, this is his personal feelings on how he feels about the countries that's telling him no. And even some of the ones that's acting like they may even consider.
United Kingdom. Because the United Kingdom, 2 weeks ago, I said, why don't you send some ships over? And he really didn't want to do it. I said, you don't want to do it. We've been with you. You're our oldest ally. And we spend a lot of money on, NATO.
And here's the thing. If they are our oldest allies, why did you not stop to consult with them? Okay? Why not?
And all of these things to protect you. I mean, we're protecting them. We're working with them on Ukraine. Ukraine's thousands of miles away, separated by a vast ocean. We don't have to do that, but we did it. Well, Biden did it. I mean, I have to be honest with you. Biden got taken to the cleaners. But we worked with them in Ukraine. We don't need to work with them in Ukraine. And then they tell us that
we have a mine ship around, and they don't want to do it. I think it's terrible. No, I was very surprised. I told him, we requested to.
And again, the things that Trump was doing to NATO prior to basically bullying them, raising tariffs and doing all that crazy mess, this is why they're reluctant. He's acting like he hasn't done anything to them.
Aircraft carriers, which they had, and he didn't really want to do it. And then right after the war essentially ended, meaning they were obliterated, he said, I would like to send the aircraft carriers. I said, I don't need them after the war has ended and won. I need it before the war.
There you go, claiming victories.
So I was very upset not upset, I was not happy with the UK. I think they'll be involved, yeah, maybe. But they should be involved enthusiastically. We've been protecting these countries for years with NATO, because NATO is us. You can
Obviously, NATO is not us. If you didn't consult with NATO, then NATO is not us. Let's go.
That's Putin. Putin fears us. He doesn't fear.
He keeps saying that. That's another thing. He need to watch his mouth and watch what he say.
He has no fear of Europe whatsoever.
Meanwhile, Putin is actually helping Iran with the drones and other things. Like, this is crazy.
Tell us if you have spoken with French President Macron about the coalition to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Have you been speaking with the French president?
What does that mean?
Have you been speaking with the French President Macron about the coalition to reopen the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, I have spoken to him.
Listen to what he say, Diamond Gang. He insults everybody.
He's been on a scale of 0 to 10. I'd say he's been an 8. Not perfect, but it's France.
That's what I'm saying. That you asking for help, but you insulting at the same goddamn time.
Are you
We don't expect perfect.
Are you confident?
The Irish president has said that your war against Iran is illegal. It's an attack on international law.
Who said that?
The Irish president.
Look, he's lucky I exist. That's all I can say.
Okay, he said the Irish president is lucky he exists. Okay?
Because if you're going to allow countries that are sick and demented, and they are demented, to have nuclear weapons, everybody in the whole world should be very thankful. And I'm disappointed in NATO, very disappointed.
Who's thankful? Put a 1 in the chat if you're thankful. Please and thank you. Please hit the like. I'm not asking for a super chat, super sticker, or a cash app. If you want to support the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. But for now, I'm just asking for a simple like. Please and thank you.
Disappointed. I'm disappointed in a couple of other countries too. But they should be very thankful that this group of people feels the way we do. All of the NATO allies agreed with us, but they don't want to, despite the fact that we help them so much, we have...
Now this is him, still talking about NATO.
Thousands of soldiers in different countries all over the world, and they don't want to help us, which is amazing. I mean, amazing. And I didn't do a full court press.
And in the beginning of this live stream, I explained to you guys why they feel the way that they feel.
Because I think if I did, they probably would be. But we don't need help. We've that war has been.
Now he's saying we don't need help. Which one is it? Which one is it? Let me take this back just a little bit, gang. He said we don't need help. Clear as day.
Them so much. We have thousands of soldiers in different countries all over the world, and they don't want to help us, which is amazing. I mean, amazing. And I didn't do a full court press because I think if I did, they probably would be. But we don't need help. We've that war has been long prosecuted as far as I'm concerned. Almost.
Which one is it? Do we need help or we don't?
From day one, we knocked out many of these things. We knocked out the Navy essentially in a couple of days. But I was surprised.
The contradictions.
Surprised to see that NATO, while they agreed that it was a very important thing to do, they agree fully. Nobody said, oh, you shouldn't do it. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month of when we had the B-2 bombers bomb the nuclear potential. I call it the nuclear dust. So I think NATO's making.
You guys heard yesterday in my live stream, they said that they still have materials under the rebel, and that if they were to negotiate, Iran would be willing to dilute that and make it something else.
Making a very foolish mistake. And I've long said that, I wonder whether or not.
But you best believe, Diamond Gang, if they need to use it, they're going to dig that up through the rebels and get it.
NATO would ever be there for us. So this was a great test because we don't need them, but they should have been there. The other thing is, and I think, very important, we didn't have to be there for Ukraine. Biden chose to spend hundreds of billions of dollars.
Here you go, bringing up the past. Let's go.
On Ukraine. And I guess the head of Germany just made a statement that, they weren't involved and they have nothing to do with the war. But at the same time, they think we did a great thing by knocking them.
They did not say that. I just showed you guys what Germany said. They did not say that. Let's go.
Nobody wants to have Iran or anybody, but nobody wants to have Iran with a nuclear, because these people are crazy. They're absolutely crazy.
Iran, who's truly
Now listen, he's going to say right here, y'all, that he underestimated Iran. Please hit the like, please. That's it. Hit the like, gang, please, and thank you.
nation of great terror and power. Look what happened in the last 2 weeks. They weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East. Those missiles were set to go after them.
They didn't specifically go after those countries. They hit U.S. targets in those countries.
So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were.
But ask the president, what did they hit in those countries?
Shocked. And the other one, they fought back. They could have yielded. But think of it, if we weren't around, they had tremendous power. They had thousands of missiles, most of which we've terminated.
They still have materials, again, under the rebel.
Thousands of drones. They were making drones and missiles.
Right, and Russia was helping them. Russia was helping them. While you cut Russia breaks, Russia's helping Iran. Let's go.
All over the place. We've knocked out most of those factories. I mean, now they're sending out 2 or 3 missiles. Now, they've still got some. They might have 8% left.
They do. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what they have. And it's specifically used for ships coming in. So, yeah.
But mostly they've been eliminated. They've been terminated by what we did and what Israel did too.
President Trump wants to reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Now I'm going to show y'all why it is so risky. This is why I got this clip. And this is why other countries are saying, no, thank you. Please hit the like, Diamond Gang.
When the time comes, the U.S. Navy and its partners will escort tankers through the strait if needed. I hope it's not going to be needed, but if it's needed, we'll escort them right through.
And he wants countries like China, Japan, South Korea, and members of NATO to help. But so far, no one has volunteered to protect commercial shipping from Iranian attacks. In just 2 weeks, the U.S. says it has destroyed dozens of Iranian Navy
Pay attention, Diamond Gang. This is exactly why they're saying no.
ships. But Iran has many asymmetric weapons it can use to target ships, including missiles.
Boom. This is what I told y'all. They still have supplies. So if someone, whoever, whatever country tries to help the U.S., they will be targeted and they will be hit.
Drones, naval mines, and speedboats. And because the Strait of Hormuz is so narrow, reaction time could just be seconds from an Iranian.
The action time could be seconds, which means that it's a miracle. It's a short of a miracle for you to be able to get in and escort somebody out.
Launch site to a targeted ship. Meanwhile, escorting cargo ships also requires a massive force. One estimate suggests 8 to 10 destroyers might be needed.
8 to 10 destroyers, and we don't have them because they're all over the world, rather.
To protect a single convoy, the U.S. Navy has only about 50 combat-ready destroyers spread across the globe. Even if such a
Y'all heard that? Spread across the globe. We don't even have 80.
plan works perfectly, analysts say escorts might only restore about 10%.
Because they didn't think that they were going to do this. You know what I mean? They never thought that they would cut this supply off. We weren't even prepared or have a backup plan. That's why we're begging for help.
Of pre-war shipping traffic. Since the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran on February 28th, commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz has nearly stopped. And that's a huge problem because about 20% of the world's oil passes through this narrow channel. Iran's drones and mines are cheaper and smaller than U.S. warships. Just one strike can immobilize an oil tanker or cargo ship worth tens of millions of dollars.
Gang, do you see why nobody's volunteering? Like, what?
Which is why the world's most important oil choke point is effectively closed, a bottleneck that's costing the global economy billions of dollars.
Air and missile attacks from both sides continued over.
Now we're getting ready to get into the leaders that are allegedly gone. Some is putting out AI. Like, yeah, let's get into it. Definitely, Iran, 2 leaders passed away. Let's go.
Overnight, the U.S. Embassy in Iraq was among the targets. Meanwhile, there is breaking news from Israel, which claims to have killed 2 of Iran's top leaders.
Iran has yet to confirm the death of one of its most senior power brokers.
And all the way up until I went live, I still have no confirmation, gang. So I'm just bringing what I have, and I'm going to bring what it means for Iran that 2 leaders are gone. Let's go.
Name is Ali Larijani, who Israel says was killed alongside a top commander of the besieged militia. But if this is true, it raises much bigger questions about who is now shaping decisions in Tehran, including here on the Strait of Hormuz, now the epicenter of one of the most dangerous standoffs on Earth.
And get this, because they have 2 leaders that's gone, what they're saying is now they're going to become more dangerous, which is crazy.
The U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, under attack with an intensity not seen before, as CRAM air defenses seen here firing into the night sky targeted at least 5 Iranian drones. Some intercepts failed, sparking a fire at the diplomatic mission that had already been evacuated. No casualties were reported. But it's here,
thank God,
in the Gulf, that continues to be hit the hardest. This Iranian strike on a fuel tank at Dubai's airport has disrupted flights for a second day at one of the world's busiest airports. And this major hit on a large oil storage facility in the UAE's Fujairah saw it burn out of control. As U.S. and Israeli forces continue to pound targets across Iran, they say at least 15,000 so.
Iran is not stopping, gang. They're not. And again, because they just lost 2 leaders, and I'll show you guys that as well, why they're going to become more dangerous.
Far. And where day turned to night after a strike on a police headquarters in western Hamadan province. Israel is also continuing its other war on Iran's most important proxy. The Israeli military has begun, quote, limited and targeted ground operations against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. According to Lebanese authorities, since fighting began 2 weeks ago, at least 886 people, including over 100 children, have been killed and 1 million more displaced.
And the casualties keep climbing. According to U.S. Central Command, over 200 U.S. service members have been injured across 7 countries since the
over 200 of us.
Start of the war. 13 have been killed in Israel and 14 civilians have lost their lives, while the death toll has passed 1,300, according to aid agencies, with no end to the fighting in sight.
And like the president said, more to come. More to come.
Israel claims that it has assassinated one of Iran's most institutional, most powerful figures of the Islamic Republic. His name is Ali Larijani. He's been a senior advisor to the former and also assassinated supreme leader. And
again, Diamond Gang, Iran still haven't put the news out there, but this is official. In regards to Israel's leader is still on the fence.
Has been serving as the country's chief of security, officially known as the Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. Now, after the killing of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Larijani was seen as the
And he was Ayatollah's right-hand man.
Man running the country's war with Israel and the United States. And he has been in Iranian politics for the past 3 decades. He was also Iran's chief nuclear negotiator back in the 2000s. And he started up in the government in the years right after the Iranian Revolution back in 1979. But Iran so far has not confirmed his condition, his safety. In fact, Larijani's X account posted a handwritten letter allegedly from him about the funeral of dozens of Iranian sailors that had been set for today, Tuesday. Those sailors, more than 80 of them.
That's confirmation right there, a handwritten letter. He didn't do, you know what I mean, a public appearance.
Were killed a few weeks ago, back on March 4th, in a torpedo attack by a U.S. submarine in the Indian Ocean. Now, while we wait for clarity about Larijani, Israel also claims it has assassinated the head of Iran's Basij in the same attack. This man's name.
That's the second one. The second guy
is Gholam Reza Soleimani. He was commander of this paramilitary group, which is linked to the IRGC, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, and most recently known as the suppressors of the mass protests back in December and January, in which thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of Iranians were killed. Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, says the military will keep hitting Iran, saying that the leaders of the regime are being killed and their capabilities terminated.
Here's why
now Trump is not telling no stories and telling no lies when he says all of their leaders are gone. Yeah, just about. We got them, just about all of them.
Iran's Ali Larijani's apparent killing matters and why it might not.
Now, this is where I said that they may become more dangerous, why it matters and why it may not.
It's very likely Larijani was killed in an Israeli strike. If confirmed, he would be the most senior Iranian figure assassinated since the supreme leader at the start of the war. So who was he? Larijani was one of the system's ultimate insiders, a former Revolutionary Guard officer, Iran's nuclear negotiator, Speaker of Parliament for more than a decade, and more recently, he was back at the center of things, helping run day-to-day strategy as the war loomed. Not the face of power, but one of the men who made it work behind the scenes. So
exactly. He was pulling the strings. He was the one who could probably stop them. And now he's gone.
Here's why his loss matters to the Islamic Republic. Larijani could operate in 2 worlds at once. He understood force, but he also understood negotiation. He helped shape Iran's nuclear strategy while quietly keeping channels open with the outside world, even as tensions escalated. And crucially, he helped manage the politics of the war. Because wars like this aren't just fought with missiles and drones. Someone has to shape the messaging, signal intent, and keep lines open. Larijani could do all of that and still be trusted by the system. There aren't many people left in Tehran who can do that. So this also matters for the new supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei.
Which we still don't have confirmation of whether he's still alive. There's rumors that he may be disfigured. He was hit. We don't know what's going on. And they're not saying.
Larijani was close to his father, part of...
Because they don't want to seem like they're weakening.
The inner circle that actually understood how power worked. For Mujtaba, that's not just advice, that's a guardrail. If Mujtaba is the hardliner that many believe he is, then losing Larijani removes one of the few voices capable of slowing things down.
Again, capable of slowing things down. So when it was time to, if it was ever to be a time to negotiate, he was the voice and he's gone.
That makes the system more rigid, more security driven, and potentially more dangerous. Now, none of this erases what he was. Larijani was part of the regime's coercive core, widely seen as playing a major role in the brutal crackdown on protests earlier this year that saw thousands killed. So why does his death not change anything? Because the system is built for this. It absorbs losses, it adapts operationally, not much changes right away. But politically, it hardens things. It reinforces the idea inside Tehran that this is a fight for survival, and it removes one of the few people who could help shape an exit. That's the real
Help shape an exit. Who's going to help shape the exit? Again, they may become even more dangerous.
loss. The bottom line is this. Ali Larijani was one of the few men who could manage both the war and the way out of it. If he's gone, Iran loses a steady hand, but the system remains. It just got a little more rigid and maybe even a little more dangerous.
It's time for us to strongly...
Now, Benjamin, the leader of Israel, y'all tell me. I think that this video that he recently released is AI. I don't care. Y'all going to see. You're going to be like, this is so fake.
Consider the possibility that the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, is either dead or severely incapacitated. And here's why. He has not had a...
Did you guys notice that Trump's not even talking? He hasn't brought him up.
Live press conference in days, at least 5 days. Trump has not mentioned Netanyahu in days. You'd think Trump would be talking about him when they're conducting...
And if you guys can recall, remember the one guy was doing the interview. I cannot remember his name. And they brought him into the Situation Room. They believe that that is when he was unalived.
This joint U.S.-Israeli operation against Iran, right? Why has he never come up? Then you have Netanyahu releasing several what appear to be AI videos trying to prove that he is alive. Instead of going on a TV show live and confirming that he is alive, he's doing released videos that are pre-recorded, supposedly. So that's not helping his case.
I'm so sick of AI, I swear.
Then we have the fact that on Saturday, Netanyahu missed the state's security meeting. And then he missed the war meeting today.
So this is Trump's right-hand man. We don't know if he's alive or gone. This is crazy. Wait till y'all see this video. It's AI. Hit the like. Please hit the like.
So where is he at? What's he doing? He's going around coffee shops and observation outlooks to prove that he is alive instead of conducting these very important meetings. That raises a lot of suspicion. Then we have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent being pulled out of a live interview into...
That's him, Scott. Scott. He was pulled out. He was so shaken up.
The Situation Room and then returned visibly disturbed. I think we have to consider that he might have been hit in one of these strikes by Iran.
Trump ain't gonna tell it because he don't want us to look. He don't want us to look bad.
Let me know what you guys think. Comment, like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
Pay attention to this video. This is fake.
Mr. Prime Minister, I wanted you to know the president asked me to come and make sure you were okay.
Yes, Mike. Yes, I'm.
Yeah, this is AI. Put a 1 in the chat while it's playing if you think it's AI. Put a 2 in the chat if you think this is him. He's gone. Let's go. I'm gonna put
Turned visibly disturbed. I think we have to consider
Pay attention,
that
y'all.
he might have been hit
God.
in one of these strikes by Iran. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
Right?
Mr. Prime Minister, I wanted you to know the president asked me to come and make sure you were okay.
Yes.
Come on, man. That fake ass laugh. I'm just so mad. I'm so mad. This is crazy. Look, y'all. Put a 2 in the chat if you think it's real. Put a 1 if you think it's AI. Put a 2 if you think it's real.
Mike. Yes, I'm alive.
I checked that, and I'm happy to see that. But he wanted to make sure because, you know, you guys get along too well.
I know, and we shake hands with 5 fingers in each hand. You know, but I have to tell you, I'm alive, but I have this card.
Oh.
And
crazy.
yeah, don't read it. So it's a punch card.
Mm-hmm.
Today I raised 2 names on the punch cards, and you see how many more to go on this batch.
You know what the good news is? My name is not on the punch card.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what they were talking about when he said my name's not on the punch card. He was talking about Iran's 2 leaders that just passed away. So he said their 2 names was on the punch card. So they're using AI to do this. This is weird, 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 weird. Let's go.
Name is on the list of the good guys.
Thank you.
And what the president, the U.S. forces are doing is incredible. We're very proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. And getting rid of these lunatics who would like to develop nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them
They need to just tell the truth. This is crazy.
to every American city after wiping out Israel. They ain't going to do that. We're wiping them out.
I love it. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.
When you say Cuba is...
That's another thing, Diamond Gang. Get ready. Cuba's next. He think he's just going to run in and take over. Let's go.
next.
Cuba.
Is Cuba, whatever you do with the military there, it seems like something. Will that look more like
And he says he could do what he want.
Iran or Venezuela?
Can't tell you that. I can tell you that they're talking to us. It's a failed nation. They have no money. They have no oil. They have no nothing. They have nice land.
What about us? What about us?
And they have nice landscape. You know, it's a beautiful island. No, I was just with a fantastic person who's Cuban and made a. But I think Cuba, see, you know, all my life I've been hearing about the United States and Cuba. You know, when will the United States do it? I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be good honor.
So get ready, y'all. It's not over. Cuba next. This is going to be insane.
That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean,
That's so, yeah, taking Cuba. Like, come on.
whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth?
He's being way too cocky. Just way too cocky. I say this, take care of home first. We got so many problems within the U.S. It's ridiculous.
Weakened nation right now. They were for a long time. Very violent leaders. Castro was a very violent leader. His brother's a very violent leader. Extremely violent. That's how they governed. They governed with violence. But a lot of people would like to go back.
We have some big.
All right, y'all. We can ready to get into Pam Bondi real quick. I will be covering this. I told y'all in a live stream, it's over. It's time's up for Pam Bondi. Let's go.
News right now, Pam Bondi has officially been subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee. Accountability continues in the Epstein files. This subpoena, which was voted on by 5 Republicans and all Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, was transmitted by James Comer, the Republican chairman, to the Department of Justice for testimony regarding how Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, has handled the Epstein files release under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which we know the DOJ has.
I told y'all Kristi Nunn was going to lose her job. Now she's facing charges. Now Pam Bondi's next. I told y'all.
Violated on numerous occasions. And now Pam Bondi will have to sit down for a sworn deposition under oath. This is not something she can just skirt by, because if she does, they'll hold her in contempt. They could fine her and possibly even more. So accountability moves slow, but the Epstein files are something that still needs to be talked about, because the 1,000+ survivors have not received accountability, have not received justice, and here we are. Subpoena has been issued.
Keep y'all notifications on, because I will be giving an update real soon on the Epstein files.
I'll have more updates for you very soon. As always, spread the word. Subscribe to my Substack link in bio to support my work. Follow for more. We have some news right now. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, is now facing 4 articles of impeachment alongside the...
Did y'all hear that? 4 articles of impeachment. She about to lose her job, and I told y'all that.
The subpoena that she was issued by Republicans and Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, a subpoena to testify at a deposition on April 14th concerning her mishandling of the Epstein investigation. Now, Congresswoman Summer Lee, alongside other members of Congress who have co-sponsored the resolution.
This is where the survivors, the ones she wouldn't look at, they're going to have their day. They're going to look her directly in her eyes while they are tearing her up.
Have filed 4 articles of impeachment against the Attorney General of the United States. The articles include defying a congressional subpoena, obstruction of Congress, essentially abusing the power, prosecutorial power, and more. Now, these articles of impeachment, they're not going to go anywhere in a Republican Congress. You're not going to have impeachment, not even a vote on it, probably, in this
We're going to see
Congress. But in the next Congress, you may very well see these articles of impeachment be revived if Pam Bondi and the Justice Department continue to stonewall, especially as it relates to the Epstein investigation. So we'll see what happens. As always, spread.
So if they keep on with the keeping on, but I believe it's going to happen now. I called it on Christy Nome. People didn't believe it. Let me go through some of these comments. Come on, man. Don't cuss in my chat. You could say that, but just misspell it, please. Please. Now I got to delete your comment. She will be parting. I hope not. But you know what? Look at how Trump did Christy Nome. He disassociated himself with Christy Nome so fast. He did that. When she got up there and said he knew about those millions of dollars she spent, he said, bye, get rid of her. So we'll see. We're going to see. Because he made sure he got away from Christy Nome. This man needs to be put in a home with supervision. I love the comment section. Okay, let me read a couple more. Please, please, please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Please. You have blood on your hands. I don't know who that may be for. We went over a couple topics. So if you're still in here, please let me know. Come on. I see what you said, but you got to misspell that type of stuff. Please, y'all, misspell stuff. Let me see. I hate that I have to delete some of you guys' comments. Because this is, listen, over here, all opinions are respected. Even if they're opposing of mine, I will show them. But you just got to misspell them. Please. Let me see. Okay, so I had a couple of ones who said it was AI. Yeah, I think something's going on. Definitely with him. Yeah. Let me see. They have 4 chains of succession behind most leaders in Iran. So if one dies, they got replacements. But here's the thing, Mohammed. They are taking them out daily. What up, AT2? I'm sorry. Listen, when I'm talking and looking at the video, I can't flip-flop. I got to stay on the video. Dang. You said, hey, Yolanda, unfortunately, this is baked into the system. They can delete all their leaders, but nothing will change. Yeah. They said they may become even more dangerous. I mean, Mohammed, where you at? Are you still in here? Who else do they have? They're taking them out like it's nothing. Now that I will say Trump is telling the whole truth on that. Would you say that was a promotion? A gnome? Nah. She just recently got in some trouble. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, she's in trouble. Okay, let me see. I just didn't do an update on it because it's just not enough. When something happens, then I'll do an update on it. And so much is going on with the war. It's like, yeah, I'll get back to Christy Nome. But she's in trouble. She's definitely in some trouble about them funds she mismanaged. I think they're going to prosecute her for that. Let me see. How is this good for America? How does any of this benefit Americans? Why is my tax money going to Israel from every state in America? I feel you. Peanut! Yeah, I feel you. This is sad. This is sad. And it's just like, I can't stop watching it. I keep saying that I need a break because like some of this stuff, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. But yeah. It's all through my feeds now because I keep consistently clicking on the stuff. Let me see. I believe they are getting help from Russia. Yeah, Carson. What's up, Carson? I said that. Iran been getting help. I said that about 3 live streams ago. Yeah, they're getting help from Russia. But meanwhile, we cut Russia some breaks. So this is crazy. This is crazy. Well, listen, Diamond Gang, I'm over an hour. I said I was only going for 45 minutes today. Please, please, please subscribe to the channel. Keep your notifications on. Hit that like. I want to say thanks to returning subscribers. I want to say welcome to anybody that's new in here. Like I said, all opinions are respected. You just can't be disrespectful. I don't have a problem with highlighting any comments, that's not of what I'm saying, that, you know what I mean, is the total opposite. I don't mind that. Just please misspell the curse words in here. Allies ain't really allies. You said, hey, Cody, we seen that. They said, no way, we're not helping you. No. Trump is mad. Oh, boy. Some of this stuff is just unbelievable, gang. It really, truly is. You said when you in trouble, you make a big distraction to get yourself out of the spotlight. Yeah, I believe that. I mean, it's to me, it's pointing to that. I've been said that. I said Israel got something on Trump. And then I told you that there was supposedly, and I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I don't even go down that road sometimes because it's just way too much for me. But do I believe that Epstein was dealing with a little bit of everybody all around the world. So, but I got some good stuff coming up. I just been putting things together for this Epstein update. I cannot believe that the Lolita still had Jeffrey Epstein personal hygiene items, embroidered hand towels, paperwork with him and Ghislaine's name on it. So yeah, I can't wait to show you guys that. So, but all right, Diamond Gang, I got to get out of here. I got to get up bright and early. I'm working an hour away from home. So yeah, I got to get up early. But I want to say thanks to everybody, especially my beautiful mods. I love y'all. I love y'all down. Replay Gang, smash the like. Please make sure you guys subscribe. And please think about becoming a member. I can't wait to do my first members only live. I want to be able to put out content just for my members. Okay? I got the cheapest membership around. All right? I ain't trying to hurt nobody's pockets in this economy. All right, y'all. I'm out.
It's your under degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip his tea. Sip with me, spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling his tea.